India, the world's largest democracy, has recorded the highest number of internet shutdowns globally in 2022. Out of the 187 shutdowns reported worldwide, 84 took place in India. But 2022 isn't an exception. India has reported the highest number of internet shutdowns in the world for the last 5 years. This is according to the latest report by internet advocacy watchdog, Access Now and the KeepItOn coalition. So why does India hit the kill switch so routinely? And why is shutting down the internet a violation of a person's rights? Let me explain. First, let's look at the numbers. According to the Access Now and KeepItOn coalition, there were 187 internet shutdowns spread across 35 countries in 2022. India hit the kill switch 84 times. In comparison, Ukraine, which has been in an armed conflict with Russia since February last year, recorded 22 shutdowns. Iran saw 18, Myanmar 7 and Bangladesh 6. Countries like Libya, Jordan, Sudan and Turkmenistan reported 4 each. To put it simply, India is way ahead of countries that are at war or are totalitarian or authoritarian states. Out of the 84 times that the internet was shut down in India last year, 49 took place just in Jammu and Kashmir. Rajasthan reported 12 instances in 2022, followed by West Bengal with 7 and Haryana with 4. In the south, Andhra Pradesh recorded 1 internet shutdown last year. Now, let's be clear. This may not be the full data, and Access Now acknowledges that it is likely that it may not have recorded all disruptions. But Access Now's latest report is in line with data compiled by other organizations. According to the Software Freedom Law Center, a legal services organization, there have been 697 internet shutdowns from 2012 until now. Its tracker found that 418 of these shutdowns were in Jammu and Kashmir. Rajasthan saw 95 and Uttar Pradesh 30. In the south, Telangana reported the highest number of internet shutdowns at 3. Digital rights advocacy group the Internet Freedom Foundation reported that shutdowns cost the Indian economy nearly $4.7 billion between 2019 and 2021. Okay, so why does India hit the kill switch? There are primarily 4 triggers for India to impose an internet shutdown. 1. Political instability and violence. For years, the government has been quick to impose an internet shutdown in Jammu and Kashmir. But in 2019, the shutdown skyrocketed when the union government revoked the state's special status under Article 370. J&K residents were subject to the world's longest internet shutdown from August 2019 to January 2020. But even then, only 2G services were restored. It took another 13 more months before 4G services could be restored to the region. The Jammu and Kashmir administration justified the internet ban by citing attempts by anti-national elements to spread false news and disturb public order. 2. Protests. Governments have on multiple occasions imposed mobile shutdowns during mass protests. It is a popular way to not only quell the agitation and the mobilization of people, but also to silence dissent. There were a number of internet shutdowns reported in many parts of the country during the anti-CAA protests. While India's capital Delhi was the first to impose an internet shutdown in December 2019, internet services were suspended in Mangaluru and Dakshina Kannada districts following the deaths of 2 protesters. Similarly, in 2021, during the farmers' protests against the farm laws, the Ministry of Home Affairs suspended mobile internet services at 3 locations near the Delhi border, citing public emergency and public safety. Incidentally, researchers found that internet shutdowns are pretty much ineffective in pacifying protests and can in fact exacerbate the situation and lead to violence. 3. Exams. According to Access Now's report, states like Assam and West Bengal used targeted shutdowns during its state recruitment exams in 2022 to curb cheating. Rajasthan also imposed an internet shutdown in places like Udaipur and Jaipur in 2021 during its teacher recruitment exam. The district administration had cited public safety following rumors that the question paper had leaked to impose a shutdown. But like in the case of protests, internet shutdowns don't really help curb cheating and only serve to disrupt people's lives. 4. Elections. The Access Now report found that globally there were 5 shutdowns in 2022 during elections. Besides India, authorities in Brazil, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan and Uganda clamped down during the election cycle to control information and quell dissent. Now, you may agree with the government's justification of a public emergency or public safety to impose an internet shutdown. But like I pointed out earlier, research has found that in many instances, like in the case of protests or exams, an internet shutdown can in fact be counterproductive. The costs outweigh the benefits. But it's more than just that. Here's why shutting down the internet is a violation of human rights. 1. Limits freedom of speech and expression. Accessing information and resources is fundamental to the freedom of speech and expression. And although the state does have the authority to reasonably restrict freedoms in the interest of public order, being unable to communicate with loved ones or being unable to send or receive news takes a huge social and psychological toll on people. 2. Impacts accessing healthcare services and education. Activists point out that internet shutdowns are harmful, impacting a citizen's ability to access healthcare, education, etc. A United Nations human rights officer pointed out how hospitals unable to contact doctors in case of emergencies installed a loudspeaker on hospitals to contact them. 3. Impacts one's freedom to practice a profession. Internet disruptions also come at great cost to people's jobs. Lawyers, journalists, and activists are most impacted by internet shutdowns, being unable to carry out their professional activities during the time. For example, a July 2022 report on the impact of internet shutdowns in India by the American Bar Association's Center for Human Rights found that without the internet, lawyers were unable to access legal research to defend their clients, and judges were left without access to court data systems. The same report pointed out that without the internet, journalists and civil society were unable to report any human rights abuses during protests and on the physical lockdown of Kashmir by both state and non-state actors. This brings me to point number 4, hampers humanitarian efforts. The Access Now report points out that especially during an armed conflict, internet shutdowns greatly impact humanitarian efforts, with life-saving information on troop movements and humanitarian corridors difficult or impossible to obtain. Despite violating these freedoms, the government, both union and states, continue to impose internet shutdowns on its people. In its 2020 judgment, the Supreme Court said that suspending internet services is a drastic measure and must be considered by the state only if the circumstances are necessary and are unavoidable. The court also went on to issue a number of directions to the government on internet shutdowns, including recording its reasons for doing so that those affected can challenge them legally. Despite the order coming 3 years ago, governments have on multiple occasions failed to comply with the court's directions, choosing instead to hit the kill switch to suppress dissent in the name of maintaining law and order. Before you move on to another video, a quick reminder that if you value the journalism that we've been doing here at the News Minute, do support us by becoming a member. Also subscribe to our YouTube channels. And as always, if you like this video, hit the like button and share this video with your friends.